Welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. I'm going to start a new series of chess videos, and I'm going to call those Chessercises. And what a Chessercise is we explore a game of the Grandmasters, or we explore a board position. It's kind of like exercises, where you lift weights. If you're curling weights, you want to do 3 sets of 8 with, say, 30 pounds in each hand to do your curls to work your biceps. We're going to work the bicep of our brain with Chessercises. Through time, as we learn how to read a chessboard or how to analyze a game, its strengths, its weaknesses, what the players are doing, as we learn the what and the how, then we begin to develop and strengthen our game, right? So that's what these Chessercises are designed to do. And I'm going to use several of Jeremy Silman's ideas, and then I'm going to explore some games on my own also as Chessercises for us. So, here is the first Chessercise. This is a game by Bobby Fischer and Gadia. It was played in March del Plata in 1960, the year before I was born. So this is relatively recent because I happen to be young. I've told people I'm 29 years old and I've been holding there for decades. Now, unfortunately, I'm old enough that it's the absolute truth. So let's take a look at this game by Fischer and Gadia. E4, C5. Knight F3, D6, D4, challenging the center, C takes D4, accepting the challenge. So far, typical Sicilian Open, somewhat, right? Knight D4, Gadia brings out the knight F6. Now he brings out his double knights, and he's going to do a preventative feature, the Steinitz rule. He's keeping the knight out of b5, right? So this move limits Fischer's knights that he can see he's pulling out, right? Not a bad move. Fischer brings his bishop up to c4. Gadia comes to e6. Now he's gently, slowly covering all of these squares across the board, right? This is basically a barrier for Fischer to try to break down. Well, Fischer drops his bishop to b3, and now Gadia is expanding on the b side, on the queen side here. Okay? He's gaining some extra space here, so you kind of gotta watch that. And now, Fischer castles, and now bishop comes to b7. He's pulling his bishop out. Fischer pops up another f-pawn up so that he has 2 pawns coming, so that all these squares are being contested now, right? It's going to be a central battle. Gadia brings his knight up. Fischer takes his knight, happily so, and the bishop takes the knight. Now, it's at this point, interestingly enough, that black has 2 threats that he is presenting to white. Number 1 is the pawn coming to b4, putting the question to the knight. And the other possible threat that black is having against Fischer is removing the e-knight, or the e-pawn, with his knight. Now this is an interesting threat because if Fischer was to respond, then of course he's got it covered with the bishop and Fischer would lose the center. So these are realistic threats. The question presented to us is, what is white's best move here? Now that's interesting, isn't it? What is white's best move? Well, we analyze the board. When we begin to learn more about the what of the board, then we automatically begin to learn more about the how-to about the board. So we learn to decipher the position. These Chessercises are going to be used to help us improve our ability to read the board. The best move for white is a very interesting move. Do you see it? I'll give you a hint. It has nothing to do with that pawn. I'll give you another hint. It has nothing to do with that pawn either. Fischer pushes the f5. Why is that the best move? Let's explore this. When we look at the board, we want to see what the pieces point to. So, this pawn is pointing to the d5 square. Nice. This knight is also pointing to the d5 square. Nicer. This bishop is also pointing to that d5 square. Hey. And the little lady, the queen, the matriarch of the board, is also pointing to that d5 square. You would think that Fischer in this opening really wants to dominate that square, wouldn't you? You kind of get that impression. Well, is black going to give it to him? Oh no. He's guarding it here, 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 and basically with the queen behind it. This is a fight for one square. Sometimes grandmasters play chess this way. Fischer indirectly strengthens his claim by pressing this f5 pawn to create a weakness in black's position. That's so cool how the grandmasters do this. If they can do it, we can. It's a matter of practice, our Chessercises, seeing it again and again and again, and learning how to understand how all the pieces coordinate with one another for a common goal. This indirect approach of the f5 forces this e-pawn to move forward. He's not going to exchange the pawn. Oh no, because by exchanging the pawn, he's not castled yet. Boy, he gives the file to Fischer. Fischer's got his queen coming up to here. That gets ugly fast. His king's not safe. Virtually forces the pawn forward. In the process, this pawn loses the influence of that d5 square. There's one less piece that Fischer has to contend with. He has strengthened his d5 hold indirectly by creating a weakness. That is a great technique to see over and over and over again, to where we can begin to see a deeper view of the position so that we can begin playing chess like this. This is why it's so cool to study the Grandmaster games. Right? That whole idea is really impressive when we notice that because of that, the queen now comes up to d3. Again, always that singular goal and purpose in mind that made Bobby Fischer such a great chess player. The queen here directly supports the d5. Moving it to here, because we now know what the plan is, he directly and indirectly, by supporting another piece that has to do with d5, strengthens his hold on that square. That is great technique, because we know how to decipher the chessboard a little bit better every time we do one of these Chessercises. We now know what pieces to move, and we even learn better where to place them for maximum strength. There's not a wasted move in the game, is there? He didn't move the bishop. No. The bishop has nothing to do with d5. He didn't just make a developing move that does not address this issue. He just created the weakness, not wasting time. He supports that goal. This is what makes the Grandmaster chess so great. And by us seeing this, learning how to read and decipher this chessboard, we too can begin to find more and more ways to play just like this. That is so cool. I love that. Truly. That is simply spectacular. So we see, essentially, that the creation of weaknesses, forcing the opponent to do something that he doesn't necessarily want to do, playing in an organized, logical, building up faction of piece after piece after piece after piece after piece, there is further yet more support he can do if he chooses to. Isn't there? Sincerely. He's got this option. More support. If he moves his bishop out, or even up to here, pushes his rook up, and then brings in the rest of his army and pushes the rook up again, he even has more power toward that d5, doesn't he? So, this particular Chessercise, I hope, helps you understand, again, reinforce it in your mind. It never hurts to keep repeating. You don't bench press 300 pounds by just lifting the weights once, do you? You know, it took me years to get to where I was bench pressing 310. Now I'm just an old fart. I'd be lucky to press 200. Now I'm working out my chess bicep. You know, I used to curl 100 pounds several times. Now I'm curling my chest bicep through Chessercises. And this is an invaluable training tool that I'm learning thanks to Jeremy Silman. And I'm able to reinforce it in my mind by sharing it with you. And I'm going to explore more Grandmaster games than what Silman has done. And I'm going to come up with my own form of Chessercises as I deconstruct the Grandmaster games to see the moves, to learn the whys and the whats and the hows of how to play a more coordinated game toward a common goal, and everything's connected and everything is covered and safe, and all of their focal power goes to one place. Now they can do this over an entire section of a board too. They can fight over a square, or they can fight over a pawn, just one pawn, or they can fight over a section of the board. And I'll show you various different ways that they do this. So, thanks for watching my chess videos. And happy checkmating, and happy chess studying, and happy Chessercise. That's going to be my new theme, happy Chessercise. And I will see you in the next video.